Hey y'all, it's me, Cinema Sis here, and I'm here today with another entry to 3 for 3 in under 3 minutes. Insecure, Season 5, Episode 9, out. Okay, so my first comment of this episode is Chad. Chad is. He just gives horrible advice, and it always boggles my mind that Lawrence takes his advice so willingly when it's like, no. Clearly, Chad doesn't even like Isa. So I'm like, why are you taking his advice? My second con of this episode is the edibles. Even though it was a funny plot device being used in this episode, I kind of wish that Molly and Torian can connect without having to deal with a trauma bond or like be on drugs to get close to each other and get vulnerable with one another. My third con of this episode is Lawrence. If pick me was a pick me, it was Lawrence. I've never liked the Lawrence character to begin with, but this episode just reaffirms more and more that, yeah, he really in his head thinks he's a nice guy. But even the bake teller woman said too, like, you think you're a nice guy, but really you're a fuck nigga, and he's a fuck boy through and through. My first pro of this episode is the humor. I laughed out loud a lot in this episode, and I was really glad because there's definitely some hit and miss throughout the season that I couldn't really get in the humor. This episode, I laughed throughout the whole time. My second pro of this episode is seeing Molly, Hondola, and Isa talk, because that talk needed to be had. It needed to be had. I just felt like it needed to be had. My third and last pro of this episode is Price's Penny writing and directing this episode. He's a great writer and a great director. And I liked his little cameo in this episode. We got one episode left. So after that, Insecure will be done in the Guerrero. Let's see what happens.